All right, class. So it has been 2 seconds, but it's been a whole day for me. So we're going over the void loop today, and 2 seconds for you, one day for me. And in this void loop, we're going to use everything that we've established before, all the other functions, all the other variables, everything else. And we're going to do four things in this void loop. The first one, we're going to read in the knob, the potentiometer, and then we're going to choose a letter from the character index, or the letter index that we created. And then we're going to read in the button press with a debounce that we created those variables for. There's only two things, sorry. And then we are going to then read in and check for a long press so we can clear the screen if we need to. And then finally, we're going to update the fourth thing. We're going to update the LCD smoothly when needed and only when needed. So that's what we're doing. We're doing four things, and we're hopping down in this void for right now. I'm going to give myself some entries here so I can move this thing up the screen a little bit for you. But I'm just going to delete these comments here. And the first thing I'm going to do here is establish some integers in here that we're going to need for the raw data and mapping of this raw data. I'm going to establish an integer. I'm going to call that raw. And I'm going to set that equal to analog read. And we're going to read in the hot pin, which is connected to, I don't remember, that's why we established the hot pin variable. And that's going to read, the potentiometer reads from that 0 all the way out to, what was it, 1023. We've used that before, right? And so I'm just commenting that so you get the idea of what we're trying to do here. And then we're going to do another int, and we're going to establish a index, and I could set that right equal to a mapping. So I'm going to map that, and we need to map that. There's a long, right? And so we're going to map raw, which is the 0 to 1023. And we're going to map that from 0 to our set length -1. All right. And then we're going to hop right out of that. All right. And then we're going to set this index right after that equal to constraint index tab low 0 tab. And then we're going to say char set underscore len -1 here as well. Just to make this even, I'm going to put some spaces here just to kind of make it look better. All right, so that's literally our set. What we're doing is we're reading the knob, we're mapping it, and then index points to the char index. Simple as that with this setup here. All right, so we're moving on. Step 2 is the button debounce. So we got to read in the button, and we got to set it up for debounce. And so we're going to use some bool here to do that. We're going to type in bool, and we're going to read now. I'm going to establish that right there. I'm going to say equals digital read with a lowercase digital. We're going to go digital read, and we're going to read in the button pin. And then I'm going to do an if statement. So if raw reads change, reset debounce change timer. That's what this thing's doing right here. Tab that in. And so I'm going to do an if statement to establish this. I'm going to say read now does not equal button. Yes, last read. And we're going to establish some curly brackets or squirrely brackets, whatever you want to call them. And we're going to go last debounce milliseconds equals millis. Close the line. And we're going to go button last read equals read now. Close the line. Okay, so then if stable long enough, accept it. So this is just our little debounce if statements, so that we're only recording one button press. And then for that if, we're going to state if the condition read now. Oh, sorry, that's above. Looking at the wrong line here. If, this is going to be a little nested thing, millis, just like that. So we're still right here. We just did that. We're going to say minus, put some spaces here so you can see this, minus the last debounce milliseconds. Jump right out of that. I'm going to go this little, oh, no, not that. This little symbol is greater than debounce delay milliseconds. Do this set item. And so then we're going to do this set item by putting little squirrely brackets right after that. And we're going to program right in there. So millis right there, like that, with that, minus the last debounce milliseconds is greater than debounce delay milliseconds. Do this, right? If this statement is true. And in this, we're going to put a couple nested if statements. This is where it starts to get a little squirrely here. So we're going to tab in correctly. I'm going to tab in twice. So I have this space, and I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to say if condition statement, right? So we have a condition, we have a statement. And in this, the condition is going to be button stable equals low, low. So button stable equals low. So if button stable equals low, we're going to run this. And to start with, oh, my mistake. This is a lower one. This is a not. So if button stable does not equal, I got caught up in my own if statements. Let's just restart. I apologize, class. We're going to go like this. Tab, tab. We're still in this first if statement right here. We just wrote this. We just wrote this. Okay. If stable long enough, we're going to accept it. To do this, I got to zoom in on my other thing so I can read this correctly because I'm screwing it up as well. So first one, first if statement inside this if statement is going to be, I'm going to tab twice. I'm going to say if read now does not equal. That's what that means. When you put an exclamation point and an equal sign, it means does not equal button stable. We're going to run this code. And so now we're inside this. That's inside that. And then this now is going to get an if statement in it as well. But to start with, right after it does not equal, we're going to say button stable equals read now. Close the line. Jump down here. We're going to put this if statement. So we're going to put another if statement right here, right below that. Tab, tab, tab. I'm going to say if condition statement. And then this is where we go button stable equals low, like that. We're going to run this statement right here. And in this, we're going to go press. I'm going to tab that. I'm going to say press start milliseconds equals millis. Close the line. I'm going to say long press handle equals false. Close the line. And then I'm going to say finally press index equals index. All right. This is locking in our selection at time of press. All right. So we're now jumping out of that little if statement, and we're going to put in a little else statement right here. And remember, we're still in this if statement right above here. So to equal this out, I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to tab that ever so. So that belongs to that up there, just like that. Okay, so if statement, now an else statement. And in this else statement, we're going to put an if statement. I know, confusing, right? Lots of ifs and else. In this, we're going to put if not, by putting this exclamation point, long press. And I'm going to go highlight this and tab this in just so. So you can see that that's inside the else statement. We're going to put single line right in this. We're going to say type char set square brackets press index, close the line. And we're going to jump out of this if statement. And we're going to jump out of the else statement. And then we're going to jump out of everything else here. We're going to put this back where it belongs. And we're going to put this back where it belongs. So this one should go all the way up to this one right here. And this one should go all the way up to the void loop. So we're jumped out of that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then our final down here, 5. So we still got step 3 to program, which is a long press check. All right, and so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, correct. I'm going to tab and put enter, and I'm going to start with an if here for the long press. This is an if statement, and we're going to go button stable equals equals low, so it's checking low. And if I do this and symbol, so this has to be true, and this next section has to be true. Not, I'm going to say not long press handle. I must have deleted my squirrely bracket there, because that's not correct. Okay. So if this is true and this is true, and we're negating that, we're doing the opposite of this, right? We're going to do something, right? And we're in this statement. And so this is going to be another if statement, and it's just going to be an if condition. We're going to say mills with this little bracket minus press start ms is greater than or equal to long underscore press underscore milliseconds. Then we're going to clear the message. Clear message, close the line. Yep, we're going to clear the message, and then we're going to draw to the screen. So I'm going to tab that in so we can see that cleanly. Then we're going to draw screen. In this case, I'm just going to go index. We're going to draw the index right to the screen there. And we're going to run our little draw screen script that we wrote up top. And then we're going to run last index shown equals that, correct? Okay. And then we're going to go long press handle will equal true. All right. And that is it for that. Now we're going to jump out of that. Given we're still in the void loop, this one goes all the way up top to the void loop. We're still in the void loop. We're going to jump out of this if statement here and this if statement here. Boom, boom, correct. Yes. All right. Yes. Okay. We're going to do our final thing. We're going to smoothly update the LCD. And this is just one if statement, and we're done. We're going to update the index on the draw screen. That's it. That's it. That's all we got to do. And so with this, I'm going to do an if. I'm going to do an index. I'm going to do not equals last index. And then I'm going to say draw screen. I'm going to say index. And then we're going to say last index shown will equal index. All right. So finally, we'll just update this bottom row when the knob changes. And we won't have to see any of the screen flicker. It'll just update smoothly when we're turning the knob. That's all we're doing here. So instead of updating the whole screen, we're updating what we need to update. All right. So what do we actually do here? We have inputs of a knob. We have a button press. We have the converting of that knob's numbers into letter indexes that we created. We are storing that character in memory. And then we're also using a timer to detect a long press. And then we're outputting to the LCD a message of the top row. And then we're also outputting a message in the bottom row where it's the letter select and the length of the message. That's all we're doing here. It's a lot of code, but just super simple. And now you should be able to upload this code. So we're going to go over, upload it quick, and make sure it's good. All right, class, I want to upload this code. And I just wanted to show you that we have some issues here, obviously, right? And so I see in my void type char, it says error. Scope was not declared for this. Well, I just noticed that if I go there, right, and it shows last index shown, it's not declared. Well, we forgot to declare it up top, apparently. So when I was writing this code originally, apparently I forgot to declare it. And we're supposed to put it up somewhere up here in the beginning before our voids. I'm just going to put it right in here, right below the debounce. And it's supposed to be last index shown equals 1. We were supposed to establish that variable. We did not. I'm going to go ahead and verify this. And we had another one, dot wire begin. Let's scroll up just a little bit. It doesn't like dot wire begin. Why does it not like what dot wire begin? Okay. This is in the void setup. Just walking through this, kind of looking at our code and figuring out why it doesn't like that. I forgot syntax. We're missing little brackets there. So make sure you have those brackets there, and that should be able to solve that issue. Finally, we have another issue here in the void loop. It doesn't like buttons stable. Oh, it's because it's not supposed to be buttons. It's supposed to be button. So a little spelling error on my part. And if I click again, it is good to go. So I'm going to select my board. I'm going to say go, and it should be uploading. All right, class. So we have our screen just like we did before. We have it uploaded. Now if I turn this knob, we should be able to pick an item, as you can see there. And if I put a bunch of items there, it'll take a second to update that. Let it update. There we go. So then if I fill it up with 16 of them, and I do one more, it'll do full. So that's it right there. And if I hold down, it'll clear it out. Perfect. So now you have your little Selpha typewriter with a little potentiometer and all the characters that you established. There you go.